All right, today we're going to dive into something pretty fundamental about the Quran. There's this common idea that when the final prophet came, the whole line of communication between God and humanity just changed. But what if I told you the message never actually stopped?
And that brings us to the big question, right? If prophethood is sealed, if it's over, does that mean we're all just left on our own without an active, direct message? It's a huge question. And the answer, if you look at the Quran's own internal logic, might actually blow your mind. So how do we even start to unpack this? Well, the key to the whole thing is a critical distinction that, honestly, gets overlooked all the time. And that's the difference between a prophet and a messenger. They are not the same thing, and once you see that, everything changes.
Okay, so here's the assumption most of us have probably heard or even believe. The idea is that these two roles, prophet and messenger, are basically a package deal. So when prophethood was sealed, messengership got sealed right along with it. And that's the very idea we're going to challenge today using the scripture itself as our guide. Now, look at the language here. Just pay close attention to how precise this is. The verse says he is the seal of the prophets. It doesn't say seal of the messengers. You might think, okay, what's the big deal? But this isn't just splitting hairs. It's a very deliberate and frankly crucial distinction that opens up a whole new way of looking at this. So let's break this down. Prophethood, or nubuwah, is about receiving that divine revelation firsthand. The Qur'an is crystal clear. That status is sealed. It's done. But messengership, or risala, is the function of delivering that message. And here's the kicker. The Qur'an never, ever says this function has ended. So one role is finished, but the job of the other, it has to keep going. I mean, just think about what a messenger actually does. According to the Quran, their job is to convey the message, to make it clear, and to warn people so they have no excuse later on. So let me ask you, do those jobs sound like they have an expiration date? Or are those timeless needs, things that every single generation is going to require? The logic points in one direction. These functions must be ongoing. Okay, so if the messenger's job is continuous, that leads to a pretty obvious next question. What or who is the messenger today? Well, you don't have to look far. The scripture itself tells us exactly what it is.
This is where it all starts to click into place. We've agreed the function of a messenger is still very much needed, but, without a human prophet to do that job, what's the vehicle for this ongoing message? What's carrying it forward?
And boom, the Qur'an starts to answer the question itself. Right here in Surah Yasin, it describes itself not as some passive book on a shelf, but as an active agent. Notice the wording. It is the clear Qur'an that warns. The Qur'an is basically saying, hey, I'm the one doing the warning now. It's taking on that primary messenger function itself. And get this verse is just wow. It perfectly illustrates the scope of this new mission. The message wasn't just for the people standing there at that time. It says it's for whomever it reaches. I mean, think about that phrase. It implies a continuous, never-ending transmission through time and space to anyone, anywhere who happens to pick it up and read it. So here it is, the main takeaway. The Qur'an literally transforms from a message that was delivered by a messenger into the active messenger itself. It's a living text designed from the ground up to perform that messenger function for every single generation it touches, right up to the end of time. But you might be wondering, how does this actually work? How is this ongoing transmission kept alive? A message like this needs a mechanism, an engine to keep it running. And the Quran points to a celestial engine that makes sure this message stays active and can be understood. And that's the role of the angel Gabriel. Check out the direct link here. Gabriel, the trustworthy spirit, isn't just a cosmic mailman who made one delivery and then clocked out. No, his action is directly tied to enabling the function of warning. The delivery of the message and the power to warn with it are part of the same continuous process. So this is not a history lesson. It's not a one-time event that happened in the past. It's a structural process, a living system. Gabriel brings down the message as guidance, as healing, and that, in turn, fuels the Quran's ability to act as a warner. It's totally dynamic. And for all you language nerds out there, this is really cool. The Arabic verb tenses used when talking about Gabriel bringing down the message, they imply a continuous functional action. It's not a simple past tense, he brought it. It's more like he brings it. His support is ongoing, as long as the Quran is being engaged with and actually understood. Okay, so let's pull all of these different threads together.
What we're seeing isn't just a bunch of random verses. It's actually a perfectly coherent system. You could almost call it a symphony of light, where every single part works in harmony to deliver a message that never, ever ends. This table just lays it all out so clearly. You see how it works? Prophethood is sealed. Okay, check. But the Qur'an's warning is forever. The Qur'an is the warner. Gabriel supports that warning. And the whole reason for messengers in the first place, so humanity has no argument, that function has to persist. It's this beautiful, self-contained logical loop.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's that the Quran itself steps into the role of the continuous messenger. The knowledge it contains, this light of the book, is what's meant to illuminate our understanding. And Gabriel, he remains the spiritual force that supports its transmission, making sure that light can still be accessed.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway. The messenger function isn't some relic of history. It can't end. Why? Because its vehicle, the Qur'an, was designed from the very beginning to be a timeless, living message that speaks directly to every single soul it reaches, right up until the very last day.
So the final thought to leave you with is this. If the message is truly alive and still speaking, then the call is to engage with it, to pray for that knowledge, and to choose to be on the side of that light.